This is Uncut, the full, unfiltered conversations with the people behind the cigars you know and love. Every person in this industry has a story, and every story deserves to be told. From brand owners and blenders to reps and lounge owners, we sit down to hear their journey in their own words. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on socials at the CigarTV. And remember, cigar culture never stops. For news, updates, full episodes, and how to watch, visit CigarTV.com. Stay smoky.
Craving sophistication? Introducing the newest lifestyle app on Roku. Dive into reviews, behind-the-scenes craftsmanship, and the secrets of aficionados. This isn't just an app, it's an experience. Download the app now on the Roku store.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Sean Mobley, and with us today in studio, Matt Booth from Room 101 Cigars. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely.
It's my honor and pleasure.
Well, today's going to be a little bit of a different, more relaxed style video, and we're going to break down the Matt Booth story. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Awesome, man. Well, take me back. I only want to start with cigars. Take me back. Where you from, what you used to do, and how the hell did you end up here?
Okay, so if I was going to distill it all down into a Cliff Note style digestible message, we're going to go a little fast, but we'll do some bullet points. So I was born in LA, lived there in my earlier years, then moved to a smaller town in Washington called Spokane, Washington with my mom. Which was kind of like an interesting hybridization of larger city and smaller town kind of rearing. And I joined the Marine Corps Infantry from there. 4 years I did as a machine gunner.
Wow.
And I got out, and on Valentine's Day, very important day, and I went back to LA to pursue a career in music, is what I wanted to do. And, you know, this is a very interesting process because to pursue something like that that is so passion-based, you have these two universes that are colliding, which is the commercialization of this thing that you love and all the processes and people that you have to interact with and go through to do that, and the core of what, you know, compelled you to go there in the first place, which is your core passion, right? And, you know, at some point I just kind of figured out that And I'd done several different things, like I did lighting and sound at the Whiskey for live shows. I interned at a couple record labels. Like I wanted to get kind of like the schmear of what participating in that industry felt like, looked like, all that stuff. And I pretty quickly came to the understanding that if I wasn't going to be writing, playing, performing, I didn't want anything to do with that industry, you know. And I wanted to continue to love music. And I felt like that would compromise that, you know, and I didn't want to do that. You know, and then, but even in the writing, playing, performing capacity, you know, like, hey man, everybody's chasing this dragon, like they want to, you know, get a deal and all this shit. So you're dealing with creative alphas, basically, which can be magical, but then again, can be totally toxic and destructive too, right? So I also became fatigued from the idea that other people's like behavior and ideas and whatnot could completely derail my mission outside of my own control. And I had been really, really enchanted by this style of heavy sterling silver jewelry that I saw floating around town on people, right? And I lived on Melrose, east of Vine, actually. In the less shinier part of Hollywood, but I would go down to the little shopping area, you know, on Melrose, and at the time, the brand Von Dutch, which by the way is now kind of comically making another comeback, was in its, you know, first generation, and it was before they sold any products to department stores and before it became all, you know, fanfare and ticker tape and all that stuff. And it was this guy from Venice, his name was Mike Cassell. It was like a very core vision that he had, and it incorporated like crazy high-end like heritage denim from Japan and sterling silver products that were made in LA, you know, And I remember hanging out in that store quite a bit, just oogling and finger fucking the merchandise, and being very drawn to it in a way that was inexplicable at the time, but I was compelled to go towards it. And one time I was in there, and the kid that was working there asked me if I would be interested in meeting the guy that made the silver jewelry for them. And I said, of course. And he explained that it was actually made in Los Angeles, and which I found very fascinating. And he introduced me to a very well-established designer, kind of like an old school LA guy, even at the time. And ultimately he connected me with the guys downtown, where I learned basic bench skills and design, and ultimately, like years later, became a partner in that atelier. And that's where we manufacture to this day, over 20 years later. So this isn't Cliff Notes anymore.
Right.
This is like diarrhea of consciousness.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Machine guns, music, and
Yeah.
sterling silver.
Yeah. And so, but here's the idea, right? The plot twist, and what ultimately leads us to be connected here today, is that I started to really dig deep in the guts of brand, and not just brands on a surface level, but like their architecture and their soul and their spine, and what really made them what they were. At least how I was absorbing their messaging and their product assortment and all those things, right? And still to this day I fell very, very deeply in love with a brand called Alfred Dunhill. And Alfred Dunhill is a very proper British luxury lifestyle brand that in the 60s was the quintessence of the good life. It was multi-category. It was, the vision is this, right? Like, you're a modern day jet-setting gentleman of leisure, and you're in Mayfair, one of the finest neighborhoods in London, and you're in their courtyard, seated, you're having an espresso and a cup of their cognac, and you have one of their cigars, and you're waiting for your custom monogram passport cover to be completed for you before you head to Heathrow and you fly to New York City for the weekend. This is Alfred Dunhill, right? Yeah. Oh, just so nice, right? Just this whole old school multi-category luxury concept that over the years, facing regulatory challenges and hey man, certain things set in that further restricted brand sharing between tobacco products and other things, especially in Europe and the UK, have kind of forced them into a world where they're not exactly what they once were, not necessarily their fault either, right? I just think people also both consumed and were receptive to that type of brand architecture at a deeper level back then. Not that we don't have people that have an affinity for that, because I think the cigar culture in general is a direct reflection of that personality, And so my vision for Room 101 was not that it was just going to be hailing from, what I'll call the LA silver subculture, which is kind of oddly, back then, far less today, but back then it was like this small sect of guerrilla rebel designers that all had little workshops all around town, and they were making their pieces, and a lot of politics, a lot of drama, but there was a lot of heart and soul in it, and I've always correlated what I experienced in that, those things that were so provocative to me and kind of drew me towards that world in a deeper way back then. I see direct connections to so much in the boutique cigar world, or now I guess it's the craft segment of the industry, right? Which, by the way, I would like to make this very clear. Room 101 is the first and only salon brand in the industry. It's the only one that's ever existed and only one ever will. Absolutely. Unless we're going to develop the salon segment, or I make another brand in the future, Room 102, that'll also be a salon brand.
So let's just dive into this now. What is boutique, right? You just brought it up. What does boutique even mean?
When I started, which, by the way, what drew me to cigars was the multi-category inspiration from Alfred Dunhill. I get lost in what the fuck I'm talking about. So it's like we have to put a bow on that. That's what led us to this moment.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna bounce too. Sorry. Here we go.
No, it's all good. But boutique, when I came into the game, this trend was just starting to emerge. You know, I was working at a factory level in Don Lee with Christian Aroa at the Camacho facility in 2008. Christian Aroa and Dylan Austin to develop the Room 101 cigar that was going to become, right? And 2009, we released the brand in the tobacco category, premium category in New Orleans. Very sweaty time there at that time, very moist, and there began the journey in the business. But at that time, there were a couple people that were really like, their program was flourishing, and they, Pete, Dion, obviously Jonathan Drew. I want to say he released Liga Privada around that time. It seemed like it was like a very big deal, obviously, and still is. I remember thinking that, this was a very shrewd extension to my collection of products, and it was very much in line with the spirit and the soul of the brand that I was trying to architect. And also, quite frankly, and to be fair, having no concept of how deeply in love I was going to fall with this world at the time. Looking at it from this is in my vision, right? This is the intelligent, romantic luxury product extension, right? And then, but I remember walking onto the trade show floor and realizing, like, wow, there's so much opportunity here to grow as a brander, and I could feel the pulsation of the vibes coming off the trade show floor, where I man, almost like a shark smelling blood in the water. Cheddar shark also smells the opportunity, and I felt like, man, I could really kind of make a name, for myself here. More importantly, for my brand. I thought it was an environment. It seemed as if it was an environment that would give the breadth needed to really kind of flourish in a grassroots fashion. And so I became part of this initial troop of people that ultimately created craft tobacco.
Absolutely.
I mean, at that time, I think that we didn't know that that's what was occurring, because we were all so in our lane, like head down, eyes forward, trying to build and create. And it was a wildly fantastic time to be in the game. I look back and I feel like that's the golden era of boutique brands, It was just very, very exciting. It was all love in some cases until it wasn't. And, but it was a really magical time. And I think that cast of characters, although in their own silos cohesively, carved out an entirely new segment of this market globally. And at the time it was called boutique. And I believe that boutique simply means shit that looks different. I think that you could attach, look, we have a boutique production philosophy that we apply to our jewelry products in Los Angeles. It's intimacy, right? Intimacy by quantity, intimacy in the amount of touch that comes from the artisan direct to each individual product, right? And I believe that is the spirit of that, okay? But in reality, I think it means non-traditionally facing, aesthetically. It has far more to do with the product's aesthetics, I believe. Because you can have a very traditional looking product that is boutique in nature in terms of its manufacturing.
Right.
So is that boutique? Or, people would never say that it was boutique, because it has to look a certain way to get like automatically classified as that, I think.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think.
Can somebody write down cheddar shark for me?
Cheddar shark. Always swimming.
Always.
Stop swimming, you die.
Yeah.
That's
So
what it is.
this brand, right? Room 101. Where did the name come from?
So the naming convention for the brand was originally inspired by George Orwell's 1984. And this was, when I read this story, it was like a sledgehammer hitting my face, man. And Room 101 is a kind of a tongue-in-cheek reference to a very kind of like dark and ominous component to that story. And within that story, basically, you know, they're describing a dystopian type future where the man is trying to eradicate individual human freedoms, you know, full control state, you know, individual expression will be snuffed out, right? For the greater good of the machine. And not, I didn't name the brand Room 101 because I wanted to make it so oogly googly scary. I named it Room 101 because I'm a champion for the human spirit, and the human spirit to be free, authentically free, and for the free spirit to be able to create freely, you know, and this was going to be my free expression, you know, and honestly, Room 101 has just become a collection of shit that I really enjoy, but done my way,
right?
You know.
So how did you kind of get into the cigars, right? Before you started Room 101 Cigars, where did this love come from?
So, just for cigars themselves or the business, or both?
Let's go both here. Let's run with it.
So there's a gentleman named Uncle Lee, and he is my uncle, okay?
Shout out Uncle Lee.
Shout out to Uncle Lee. Many years later, we made a cigar as a tribute to him called the Uncle Lee. It's one of our most sought after limited edition cigars, right? But he introduced me to cigar smoking when I was younger, okay? And I was less a fan of the actual act of combustion, which, by the way, Uncle Lee was heavy on the White Owls, bro.
Okay.
Like deep. But, and by the way, back then, dudes that smoked their cigar. And Uncle Lee's cigar was the White Owl, right? He was a combustor, a smoker of cigars, right? And I was very much enamored by this moment that I was sharing with him that was unlike the moments that the rest of my family who didn't participate in that hobby could share with him. And this kind of was the initial tainting of my mind, the initial unlocking of what I would think is one of the more spiritual or cultural elements to cigar smoking, which is, you know, are some of the main reasons that I did fall in love with this world, you know? Connectivity, right? And it was a conduit for connectivity, the plant rod. The plant rod. And so later, in terms of how we entered the business, this is rich, right? So no one has entered the business in the fashion that I did. Now, being the young aspiring cheddar shark that I was, but bootstrapping every step of the way, you know, I had to make it happen by any means necessary, okay? As every entrepreneur does. And I was marketing my jewelry products to the fashion world as high-end fashion accessory. And this is before 2008, before the world fell apart that time that it fell apart. And I was participating in kind of elevated specialty trade shows, okay? Shit was very expensive. I had no business being there. Although I made some great initial accounts by participating, I started to realize very quickly, like, okay, my vision for this brand cannot be realized in a trade show booth in a way that is satisfying to me, to communicate it to people. And so I said, fuck that, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna participate in the industry trade show. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find a different way to create an environment that I feel is a satisfactory communication of what my brand is in terms of the lifestyle element, right? And so at the time I did a great many like custom projects for many people, we still do custom today. But some of the guys that I did custom projects for were all the management guys from a crew called the 9 Group, which at the time was the organization that managed all of the nightlife in the Palms Casino. And at the time, the Palms was like cracking, like they had done the Real World there, and it was dope. So I called up one of my friends and I said, look, man, I would like the honor of using one of your nightclubs to throw a party for the trade show, an after party. But I'd like you to help me brand it, and I'd like your promotional group to participate collaboratively in the promotion. I want no money from it. I'm not going to share the door with you. It's free money for you. Just let me show you let me show you if we bring our culture into the club, what we can do. This is where we have our first event at the Ghost Bar, see-through balcony floor, right? And it was highly successful, right? And we were able to entertain all existing and prospect clients, and the attitude was very simple, like, the show's crazy for you. We're not going to steal your time away from other brands that you need to have an appointment with. Just come to our party, blow off some steam, have a cocktail, just enjoy the time with us, And so the connectivity was fully activated. And at the end of the night, my dude Ian came over to me and he said, look, the higher ups called and they said, hey, you can come back and do this whenever you want. I said, great, let's run it again. So the idea was that we were going to elevate the experience and bring in like some rappers and some talent and shit, which was actually, it was a very fun time. It was a very fun time. And we brought, through this daisy chain of cosmic connectivity, I was connected to a gentleman hailing from the cigar business. His name was Dylan Austin, is Dylan Austin. And at the time, he was a young, aspiring marketing director for a company called Camacho Cigars. And I wanted to have a cigar element present at our party. And so him and his team came out and kind of like enhanced the evening, And it was dope. I remember standing at the end of the club towards the end of the night and looking out over the crowd, and there was not one person in the entire fucking building that wasn't smoking. The fucking cocktail waitresses were smoking cigars. And I was like, this is it. And it was like a fucking unlocking moment in my mind, We stayed in touch, and I was asking Dylan to connect me to someone that could make me a super high-end, like bespoke humidor to add to a smoker's accessory collection that I was trying to develop at the time. And somewhere along the way in those conversations, he asked me basically if I'd be interested in creating a cigar with them, like collabing on a cigar brand. And I said, fuck man, sure, why not? And then about a week later, I was flying to the nation of Honduras on Christian Aroa's Buddy Holly fucking airplane, and darkening the door of a cigar factory for the first time, and fucking drinking from a fire hose of information and culture and vibes for years to come,
Wow.
And so I got into the cigar business by throwing rager after parties in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, from a collaboration cigar, right? To then now you're here at Room 101, which is known everywhere, right?
I hope.
I mean, that leap you took to say, hey, I want to jump into this and start my own cigar line, right? That's a whole different conversation, right? You love it, right? But you got to throw some money at it, spend some time, and obviously you're here today and you do this all day, every day.
Yeah.
What was that step for you there?
What, the step?
Yeah, like from a collaboration cigar to now, I need to start my own brand, right?
Well, so the science here and the genetics of my path are this. It was fallish of '08, and we were at the factory, and Christian pulled me aside. I remember this conversation. He basically said, hey, Booth, there's going to be this announcement. I sold my business. But I sold the business to this much larger European company that does more than cigars also. And he said, I know you do like your jewelry shit and like you this brand that you're doing. Maybe we can work a deal with them and they can distribute this cigar for you. And I said, sure, that sounds great. And so that company was Davidoff. It's where young legend and I met once upon a time. And and so Davidoff, when we launched the Room 101 cigar in New Orleans, Sweaty, it was still, they were still their trade show representation was still completely segregated. They had acquired Camacho, but separate booths, separate, that whole thing. And we were set up in a position in the Camacho booth, for the launch and all that. And over time, that was all consolidated, and sales team and all that stuff. But Davidoff distributed our cigar brand for the first 8 years that I was in the business.
Wow.
And so you have factory level experience coming from, I like cigars, to, okay, this is going to become a major part of my life. I have to show up and learn whatever I can. Okay. And also, by the way, catching a major vibe between, although what we make in LA is a different product, right? It's still a human machine that is constructing handmade art. One you combust into your face and incinerate, and one you put on and embellish yourself, right? But it's still hand-built art, and no two can actually be exactly the same. This is like the perfectly imperfect nature of these products and what gives them a soul, an individual soul, right? I think. In all fairness, my passport, bro, like I was tracking the change. I was like, oh, they have a square stamp now. That's cool. Like it was just like, boo, 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 and I went so fucking much, right? And because I had to catch some semblance of a real, I had to get my sea legs underneath me, and also at the same time, simultaneously running parallel to that, a couple things happened. 2008 was what I think here they like to call the financial crisis, but the rest of the fucking world likes to call it the global financial crisis because everybody was fucked, and this every account that I had for our jewelry business went out of business. Every account, every custom client that would call me on a sick one at 3 a.m. in Vegas and say, I need a diamond wallet chain, shout out Eric Parkton, all stopped calling because either they were in some state of financial compromise or it was simply now kind of poor form to show it, and all the fucking bedazzled rhinestone bullshit of Ed Hardy transferred into quieter luxury, like Rick Owens, fabrics and silhouettes, and I'm wearing a fucking $4,000 alpaca nutsack sweater, but you don't know what it is unless you know what it is, right? I think he makes those. So, but simultaneously in this world, there was fucking no sign of financial compromise. People were smoking more than they ever had been, and there was this kind of this micro boom of, at the time, boutique brands.
Right.
And so I was all the more reason to pursue this wholeheartedly. And ultimately, the industry inspired me to make stainless steel variants of some of our products, which is what ultimately got us into Nordstrom. So it's all of these things are cosmically engineered together, even if you don't. You have to follow with blind faith. With blind faith, you have to follow this path and it will unfold for you. And so while I'm learning factory, I'm also learning the US market.
Right.
Ground pounding, handshake to handshake, door to door. This is before social media existed, right? The way to get into the minds of your consumers and the prospect retail partners was in person. And so I traveled the country all around and back again 100 different times and showed up and showed them some form of respect and tried to show to the best of my ability that I was serious about this. And definitely, we had to fight through things that probably would have bested a good deal of even capable contenders, but that's what this is. You're a baby sea turtle. 1 in 7,000, man. You have to have the whole recipe and cook it right. you know.
So what are you smoking here right now?
Oh yeah, so this is the Johnny Tobacconut Maduro.
Maduro.
Yeah,
Okay.
we make Johnny Tobacconut, both the Connecticut and the Maduro, with my man, AJ Fernandez, okay, who I've known for years, and watched him build a sensational business, him and Freddie, and of course everybody else on his team over the years. And he has a magic in his hand that comes through in the product. And I hope that you can also taste a small glimmer of my interference as well, you know.
How involved are you in the blending process of your cigars?
So I participate as much as I can,
Right.
you know. Like obviously, like I didn't grow up on a farm,
Right.
you know. But I put myself in that position enough to have a certain level of capability to viably collaborate with my factory partners, you know. And at the level that I can participate with them, it's an interesting creative exchange. It's an interesting exchange of respect, you know. And I give my input however I can to affect the final outcome and the final performance of the product.
Right.
You know, and I think that anyone that is authentically participating in that process, that should come through.
Absolutely.
It should.
What's
Yeah.
the story on Mr. Johnny?
Jonathan P. Tobacconut, once upon a time, was in a foreign galaxy, chasing galactic flavors, and found himself on a foreign planet, and went down and began, without permission, to harvest sacred space leaves for his products. And one of the local heroes and champions, Chief Culero, this was his lands, and he came and decapitated Johnny Tobacconut and threw his head out into the endless, vast, dark vacuum of space.
Sounds like some acid or some.
And now, what you have
Yeah.
is you have Jonathan P. Tobacconut,
There we go.
that is his son. And he is possibly on a journey initially inspired and fueled by vengeance. But I believe that somewhere on the other side of the universe, he is going to come face to face with his own completion, because he is not going to surrender, at least I hope he's not going to surrender to the false comforts and false strengths of violence, that he is going to evolve from this initial fiery passion that he has to balance the scales and come face to face with the chief's son. And, you know, we're going to see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah. That's who Johnny Tobacconut is.
Amen.
Yeah.
This gold statue I see everywhere. I
Yes.
think about how I can steal one anytime I
You have to steal it.
You have to steal
You have to steal it because they're all out. They've been distributed.
Really?
Yeah.
Why'd you decide to build a big ass gold Johnny Tobacconut statue?
I mean, fuck it, why not?
That's a good point.
It's dope.
Yeah.
You like it?
I love it.
Boom. I got a call, and look, man, although, like, you know, okay, so I have maybe a less than pedestrian way of expressing some of my points, okay? I hope that if you're paying attention, it all weaves together and makes sense, you know? I guess that's my way of saying there is a method to the madness, and I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you if there wasn't, you know? Of course, you know, I still like my core consumers to think that I would sit down and just say poo poo pee pee and stuff like that with you, but like there is more form behind the,
Right.
you know, behind the fun, but there's definitely fun. And Johnny Tobacconut, of course, the statue was a way for me to execute my 3D sculpting that I leverage every day in my jewelry business and bring him to life physically. That's fulfilling. That's the fulfillment part. The maniacal living in your mind rent-free component is example A. I am traveling and I get a call from a friend of mine in the business who genuinely has best interests. I know that he does. Shout out to John in Colorado. And he is, I think what he's doing is he's doing a little independent selling, like brokering. We're not going to hold that against him. We know what we think about those people a lot of the time. The brokers. He calls me, and he's conducting a promotional event in a store in New Mexico. Big Johnny Tobacco statue next to the humidor. And he says, I just want you to know this. Because you'd want to know this. That's a friend. And he says, all night I've been trying to sell my fucking cigars. And I've watched an endless stream of people come out of the humidor carrying any assortment of cigars, but always Johnny Tobacco. And I went up to the owner when it was slow, and he told him, he said, hey, I see you fuck with Booth, man, this is cool. And he's like, who? And he said, Matt Booth, you support Matt Booth. And the owner looked at him and said, who the fuck is that? And I said, tight. That's fucking perfect. That's fucking perfect, because that means that I don't have to go physically fucking stand there to make that brand on flow successfully, consistently, commercially. So that golden gem of a moon man is my salesman on the floor of that shop all day, every day, without fail.
Wow.
And so that's why.
Love it.
Dig it?
Digging
Cool.
it.
And because it's fucking cool. But
It's pretty badass.
it's okay.
Let's talk about the industry for a second. Maybe
Let's talk about it.
09. I kind of use COVID as a timestamp. It was an unfortunate event, but there was a lot of new cigar smokers, right? And
Fuck, I loved COVID. I want it again.
right.
I want to run COVID back right now. God, I'll sell another brand.
So what is your take? You know, we're 5-ish years off of it. Man, where are you seeing the industry kind of going? What are you seeing happen in the industry?
So, okay, COVID was a very interesting time for us because it genuinely generated a surge in consumption that brought on a level of selling that was akin or greater to the boom of the 90s.
Right.
Our industry had not experienced a surge in consumption and purchasing like that since the fucking 90s. The main difference was that in the 90s, this was a boom that was driven by fad, by celebrity, by trend. And, you know, these trend is kind of like a less than loyal mistress, you know? This was a boom that was genuinely generated by a surge in consumer consumption.
Right.
It was different, you know? And there were a great deal of opportunities that, you know, okay, everybody at that point was using social media to some level. And I think that that was the tipping point where everyone realized that they were not using it anywhere near the way that they could, including myself. And I took to Al Gore's internet machine with a ravenous flair, right? And I said, my mission is still the same, and it is to connect with my end user consumer, to the people that will consume this product, and maintain connectivity, evangelize my brand, and make sure to the best of my ability that I am top of mind somewhere with them. And, you know, for me, I think I said it earlier, but like talking shit is my superpower, man. So the conversational delights will never stop in this house, you know? And so that was an environment that I could actually flourish in, you know? And it was intriguing too, because, you know, I'd participate, and I still do today, I never stopped, but, you know, more in that period of time with captive audience, you know, I would be on some sort of hangout or whatever with all the little squares, the Brady Bunch thing, you know, and, you know, both in the spirit of conversation and also a little investigation. You know, at some point I'd ask everybody where they were from. And, you know, quietly in my mind, I'd do the math and I'd say, fuck, I'd have to travel for 6 months, a year, to have the chance of being within striking distance of this person in their home shop, right, to conduct an in-store activation. But they could be on vacation. They could be getting a smog check. They could be at the ER getting something removed from themselves that they shouldn't have put in there. Only 7 inches the human could, we'll get into that in a second. So the idea was, man, this is hyper effective for me. And this is a landscape rich in opportunity for me. and a place that I can build. And in my mind, I said, I can build to the next level. And because of that environment, and many, many other plates spinning simultaneously, is the build that led to the acquisition of this brand in this space.
Yeah.
So I love fucking COVID.
Do you see any relation?
I'd mainline COVID.
Do you see any relation from when you hopped in the industry to today, as far as boutique brands?
Well, look, man, all of these trends recycle themselves, but with a different twist. Right? And like when I came into the business, I was seeing trends in this business that I had seen in fashion, right? This wave cascading, blood in the water, you know, as the, you know, the leaders of one trend are still ahead of the pack, there's an army of people that are coming in like the back door of the convention hall trying to set up, and some of that energy, like the bubble is already burst and like the energy is like dissipating out already, and they're trying to grab whatever fragments of it that they can. And that has already happened once in this space. I think that, you know, just like once upon a time, I was what I've heard some of the old school sales guys refer to as an ankle biter, you know, like somebody that was just chipping away a little bit of their market share. And I can only imagine, because I know it very well now, the frustration of a well-established sales agent and a well-established company owner that says, you're literally going to take your money and put it in this fucking guy's pocket, and you don't even know if he's going to be here in 6 months. I knew I was going to be. But again, sea turtle, 1 in 7,000, that's not everybody. You know, I think you see it again where people are making significant investments that are driven by heart and soul into these small boutique / craft, not salon, entities in their humidor. And it's great. They're building this, you know, macro climate where those brands are flourishing in their stores. A lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of investment on their part. And, you know, tragically, you know, some of these brands someday, you know, it's never really about when it's going good. It's about like when you experience challenge and you pick up the phone and you're like, hey man, this thing went sideways for me and we need to reciprocate support. And now the retailer's sitting there with, it's like he's got the radio and he's like the special forces guy that they sent to do some dirty shit in Central America. Not that we do that. And he's like, hey, I'm ready for the pickup, the extraction. It's like, hello? Oh. And so you need to have partners that can support you in the hard times, you know? And so I think that we're going to see, continue to see, as things continue to get harder, like every year you have to work harder to make a little less, right? So it's hard on both sides of that. And you're gonna see that pressurization of the cabin continue to become more overbearing, and people are gonna start tapping out. People have already tapped out. But it also created kind of like an underbelly of the boutique game too, right? Like I used to joke for years that there are guys that are ordering, you know, bundles off CI and banding them in their kitchen with their homies and selling them on Instagram, you know? But genuinely they are. But like some of those guys have evolved into stage 2 because they hustled hard enough, they had enough heart and soul and dedication to what they were doing. And some of those guys are making their way in the business now. To some degree, you know?
Discover the ultimate destination for cigars. Experience our vast catalog of cigar content. Step into CigarTV. From highlighting the newest products to showing you the best cigar lounges, reviews, news, and everything else, CigarTV brings it all to your screen. Tune in and watch CigarTV today. Ignite your passion and join the ultimate cigar experience.
Did you play a instrument or you?
Oh yeah.
Okay, what'd you play?
I play alto saxophone.
Okay.
I play bass guitar. And then kind of guitar, but not really. More bass.
Like all these things, right? Like 3D printing and, I mean, military and like.
It's been kind of a wild ride, man, and I
But you've been successful though. Like some people, they say they do these things and they're not successful, right? It's like, yeah, technically you weren't really a musician. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, there's people out there, right? Like, but you seem like you've been successful.
Bro, I had like gear sponsorships, like
That's what I'm saying.
Yamaha, John Godesi at Yamaha Guitars used to build me custom basses. Mesa Boogie sponsored me. You know, like I was on my way, like I was working my way into that world, and then I pumped the brakes.
Right.
You know, and it was cool. And I still, to this day, like, dude, one of my dearest friends, Seven Antonopoulos, he's a professional drummer. Someday he's probably going to join us and be a salesman for our liquor company.
Wow. You got a liquor company too?
Well, we started Room 101 Gin in 2017.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Quietly, man, it's a very difficult business. So it's like, you know, we're trying to figure it out, but it exists.
Wow.
You know? Yeah.
I mean, you kind of touched on it before this talking point, like this next generation that we're seeing, right?
Yes.
The legacy companies, you can see the fathers and the mothers are on the way out.
Yes.
The sons and daughters are taking over,
Yeah.
right? You're first generation, right?
That's correct.
But you're also seeing the next generation in the cigar smoker, which I like.
Yes.
Cigar lounges are getting younger and younger.
Yes.
As, I want to say media, but media, manufacturers, lounges. How do we make sure that this next generation comes in and stays around for years to come?
Well, look, man, I firmly believe that a full cigar lifetime for a hardcore dedicated enthusiast is 5 years.
Really?
100%. Not that they're going to exit the hobby, not that they're going to stop smoking, but from what I've seen, and by the way, I'm getting close to have seen this rotation 4 times, right? So, of course, this is just my personal experience and my opinion, but, you know, especially with craft, you know, they come in crazy enthusiastic, a level of dedication to it that is not sustainable for the long term, both from a health standpoint, from a purchasing standpoint, you know, and so you get into this cycle of, you know, there's a level of fatigue that occurs, and then, you know, I have dear friends that I met on my first rotation from the event cycle that if I come into town to do something or we're doing some promo or whatever, they'll hit me up and they're like, hey Booth, come to the house after and we'll smoke a cigar.
Right.
Like, we don't show up to events anymore, you know, and just because they got tired of the atmosphere, you know, they got tired of that, you know, the retailer overloaded themselves on product to justify the attendance of the principal, so they need the principal's on the hook to sell it with them. They're on the hook to sell it. Their customers are pressurized to buy it, and so, you know, and look, man, promotional events, fine, like it works, it works and it doesn't. The way that I was doing it in 2009 doesn't really work anymore, but they still have their place. And I've consistently seen younger, cooler people smoking cigars and becoming involved in the space. People with great hair, people that are musicians, people that are tattoo artists, people that are fabricators. You know, it is the genetics of this person that craft resonates within, that also gravitates towards cigar smoking,
right?
Because they respect the craft, even if they don't know about it, right? At a deeper level, you know. And I think that to keep younger people involved in cigar smoking is happening. And I think it's happening organically, and like evolutionary steps that were, you know, I always tease Pete Johnson. I always tell him like I'm his fault, you know. I'm like, this is your fault, bro. Like you fucked up. Like, you know, like without you know, some of these traditional legacy brands, none of us would be here.
Right.
So head bowed in respect into perpetuity for the Davidoffs, for the Padrones, for the Fuentes, for, you know, and even people that like the Oliva family, Gilberto and all them, that, you know, they sold their company, but their name, you know, still lives on that building, and they built a foundation that afforded me the opportunity to explore this as, you know, part of my business, part of my life, you know. And then the craft guys, one next to the other. This is not like a coincidental chain of brands. This is evolution of the space.
Yeah.
People that I came after, then people that came after me. These are all like building blocks, you know?
Yeah.
And there are younger guys that would probably say, I wouldn't be here if Matt Booth hadn't fucking done Namakubi and Pete Johnson had done Monster. You know what I mean? Like, because everybody's journey is unique to themselves, and I'm sure that that's true for somebody.
Absolutely. Talk about the evolution of tobacco. You know, Nicaragua, you started Honduras, DR, Cuba. You're starting to see some different places now grow tobacco, and tobacco is becoming more prominent in cigar brands. Is there one tobacco that you want to get your hands on, or a tobacco that you think is going to take off next?
Like in terms of like varietal or country of origin?
Yeah.
Man, I got to be honest with you. Like, I always love going down and fucking around with what is suggested, and that's kind of where I get my ear to the street type information.
Yeah.
Like if AJ is excited about it, if Weber and Don William are excited about it at William Ventura, I love you, my family, then I'm 100% interested in participating in it, you know? So it's whatever they're gonna serve up next, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you blend, are you blending for your palate, or are you blending for consumers when you're coming out with a new cigar?
So typically it's for me.
Yeah.
Typically, and I have done it the other way around. I have, which just like designing packaging for someone else's brand, which I've done. You know, like you're applying your skill set to something that is kind of alien to it's like this hybridization of your authentic output, and then also modified to fit someone else's dream in a way, right? And I like to make things that I dig because I think that that's honest, and I think that resonates. I think that this product is so pulsating and radiantly alive that it communicates. Like, if the dude that, or lady, madam, that rolled this, like, broke up with their significant other, this cigar wouldn't smoke right. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because it's a time capsule of that period of time for them, and their energy is transferred into this product. They're gonna roll it too tight, or they're gonna fuck up the bunch or something, right? Because their mind is not in connection, you know? And so I think that this is one of the, I don't know, this is one of like endless provocative points about the product that I love so much. And I think that if you make something with honesty, that even if the person combusting the rod to face, they're not gonna say, you know what, Matt Wood, he's fucking honest. He was honest with this. They're not gonna say, you know, but they're gonna feel that.
Yeah.
You know, even if they can't like summon the words to express that, because it's gonna be right on.
Yeah.
And that's what this cigar is fucking right on. And so many other cigars are right on because of that.
Absolutely. To some, you know, cigars can be seen as a celebratory moment. Is there a time in your life that you celebrated with a cigar that just sticks out above the rest? One crazy moment?
Yeah. I had a very, very dear friend of mine die. And his name was Havana Phil. Legend. Beautiful man. Fucking beautiful man. Greensboro, North Carolina is where he hails from. And Havana Phil's is still alive and active today, run by his son, Philip Michael.
Wow.
And the family, right? And he and I connected early on in both of our journeys because he was a newcomer to retail too. He was like a chemical salesman before, right? And a psychotic golfer too. And we became friends early on, and he got sick and died, and I got the word at a trade show. And I went with two close friends that were also close friends of his, and we went to Casa Fuente, and I bought, which I still have in my desk in my home office, a small 310 of Opus X. The tiny little, like a little Perfecto kind of cigar, right? And we smoked those there, and it had nothing to do with the cigar, and it had everything to do with the gravity of that moment, you know? And that's the first thing I thought of when you said that.
Yeah. That's
Powerful.
Very powerful.
Powerful. Yeah.
You mentioned Room 101, and you said something about Room 102. And
Room 102.
yes, a joke, right?
Yeah, it's just a flirtation with the universe, you know?
What are you working on, man? PCA, it feels like it just ended, but we're also running up on it, right?
Yeah, well, you know, because Johnny Tobacconaut has already celebrated his 10th anniversary in combustible product form. we're going to do something that's a little memorializing to that in terms of like a humidor presentation. I would love to say that it's going to be available for holiday, but we'll see how that goes because the cigar gods must also bless the timing of all these things, and the packaging gods, band gods. All gods must be, it's like a Greek thing, many gods must function cohesively for the cigar to present itself to the world. Yeah.
I wish more people understood what really went into a cigar.
Fuck, they might stop smoking. Don't get too close to the fire, bro. Just enjoy. It's just like the music thing. It's just like the music thing. If you love this and enjoy it so deeply, continue to do that. Continue to do that, man.
Yeah.
Don't go there. Don't do it.
Well, for the crazy ones that do want to get into it.
Yeah, don't.
Okay, that's the advice?
Yeah. I mean, if you choose to hand your life over to the tobacco trail of tears, you will. Are you a Star Wars fan?
No.
Are you? Whack. Who fucking likes Star Wars in here? All these young bucks. Nobody fucking. My man, right here. We're gonna lock in on this. Do you remember when Luke goes to Dagobah and he's beginning to train with Yoda and he says, "I'm not afraid," and Yoda says, "You will be." And that is how I feel about what I need to communicate to people that say they want to fucking come into the business side of this crap, Now look, there are people that are now making their bones in the business that I gave that message to. And I love to see them thrive. Brandon owns a company called Apostate.
Yeah, Apostate.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right? I told him, do not fucking do this, bro. Don't do it. And if you ever interview him, say, "Hey, what did Matt Booth tell you about coming in the business?" He'll say, "He said fucking don't do it." But I also knew, like I saw the stars in his eyes and I saw an alignment that I said, this guy's, not only is he going to do it, but he's going to do it. And he is doing it.
Yeah.
He's now a baby sea turtle. And he's in the water now.
Yeah.
He made it to the water.
He made it to the water.
He made it to the fucking water, bro. And so that's also, like, for me, like, crazy inspiring too, to see that, right? Somebody executing, and they have a purity to their vision without question, and they're summoning it to rise above the white noise, and they're making it work.
Absolutely.
So it can be done, and like, look, man, long since have handed my life over to this world. So, if somebody's willing to do that, then, they got a shot.
Absolutely. As you look back at what you've built and you look forward to what you're continuing to build, what kind of legacy does Matt Booth want to leave?
I want to be able to create and continue to sustain the life that as a kid I could have only dreamt of for my son and my family. And if this is a vehicle that allows me to exercise a little bit of fiendish creativity and create things, and also generate that type of platform for him, that's, if that could be considered a legacy, then that's what I want.
Absolutely. What is the cigar industry missing?
Well, I don't really know that it's missing anything. I think that it's missing things that it has yet to realize.
Yeah.
And once they.
No, you're good.
Once they, look, the cigar industry didn't know it was missing me till I showed up and came correct, right?
Right.
Whether they like it or not,
Yeah.
it was missing me, because if I wasn't meant to be here, I would have long since been ejected from the equation. And I think that, there will be phenomenal creatives that come in with a heart full of energy and enthusiasm and come in and make their tiny contribution to the business and to the culture.
Yeah. Where's this spiritual energy connection thing that you have? Where does that come from?
Yoda. The Force.
Yeah.
The Force. He knows.
Yeah.
The Force. I think that there's a tapestry of energy that is all around us and running through us. And we are far more connected than we could even begin to understand. And I think that cigars are a conduit of that energy. I don't think, you asked me, it's funny, you asked me earlier, what does a cigar mean to you? And like my knee-jerk reaction, like what I was about to say was, like when you said that, I was like teleported, and in my mind's eye, I saw a small circle of gentlemen in a teepee with a peace pipe. And in my mind, I said, there's no mystery to me as to why tobacco, and they put some other things in there. They have, if you talk to different tribes, use different shit and they kind of mix things, but tobacco was part of that mixture. And it was a very centralizing experience. And I don't think that there's a mystery as to why tobacco was a consistent component of the peace pipe exercise.
Yeah.
Because they had to sit down and they had to fucking lock in, and they had to talk about some severely serious shit.
Yeah.
And come out with a reconciliation or a shared understanding that had gravity affixed to it. Yeah. And tobacco was that conduit then, just like it's the conduit for me washing this ocean of fucking wordology over you today. Your beautiful haircut. And, and like some people pick up on whatever, some of this will mean things to people and other people are not receiving the frequency, and on we go. But this is an antenna, a conduit, a transmitter. That's what I think.
Yeah. Was there like a moment in your life maybe that kind of, I don't know, I heard the quote, every man has two lives. The first, you know what quote I'm talking about. Every man has two lives.
But not every man has a cigar.
Every man has a cigar. Every man has two lives, but the first one, some shit. Was there a moment in
Let's
your
look
life?
it up. You wanna look it up?
Every man has two lives. The second starts when you which he only has one.
Oh.
Was there a moment in your life, man,
wow.
where you kind of pivoted, or you had to make a change, or?
Oh, that's heavy, man.
Yeah.
That's a cool statement. Yeah. I've actually never heard that. But how real?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, look, man, I think when I was younger in my business, I've created things in this space, as well as have other people, so I'm not like a dick beater here, but it is true. Things that went on to be industry standard in one way, shape, or form. It was my contribution, but I also, in different chapters along the way, I sacrificed more than I gained to gain position. I invested myself with blood sometimes even, to make it past certain speed bumps, milestones, etc. And there have definitely been major chapters in my journey here where other people made far more off of me than I made for myself. And I gave that up more loosely, detached from the concept that there is only one ride. There's only one fucking ticket, and I've already punched it. The stub has been handed off, and I'm going. And so, I think that the cigar business and culture has done so much for me. I've grown as a man, as a businessman, as a father, all these things as a part of this business, But I think that this business also gave me that moment at one point that I realized, like, not only is there only one ride, that this is my ride, and this is part of my, like, the main stage of my journey is this world.
Yeah. The cigar industry did the same for me. It's an incredible industry, man. Yeah.
I get it.
If all the Room 101 watchers out there, man, what would you say to them? You got anything coming up, any launches? What would you say to the Room 101 fans and lovers?
Go on the internet, take your digital extremities, and go to room101brand.com and join the fucking mailing list. Please and thank you, and you will be rewarded with information and delights and discounts and the news of upcoming product releases. And follow us on Instagram, because honestly, that's where we're just spitting information out into the universe, man. So if you want to keep up with us, that's where you keep up with us at.
Man, thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, no, it's
You're
my
a gem.
pleasure, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me. My name is Matt Booth, and I am the founder and creative director of the Room 101 family of brands, and you are watching Cigar TV.